Welcome to Mindshift. I'm Brandon. Today is another Tuesday Takedown, but first, here I am. I am in the new studio, and I am so very excited. It is like 95% done. I just need to finish some of the design and some of the dialing in. I've got new lights. I've got a new mic. It sounds like I need to do some soundproofing. There's kind of a bit of an echo in here, but for the most part, we are here and enough to start shooting videos. So don't critique me on design or quality just yet. Is it too much orange? That's my first question. But anyways, I digress. I wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who has contributed on Super Chats or via your Patreon membership. It helps tremendously. With this studio, I'm going to be able to film more. I'm going to be able to do more live events. I'm going to be able to start my call-in show where we talk to doubters, deconverters, and those that are just deconstructing their religion, as well as hopefully more collabs. I can shoot at different times. It just opens up so much, and it's thanks to all of your generous support. And I needed it. I still need it. This was very expensive. We ran into some electrical issues that were not foreseen, and it really started to add up. So if you've been wanting to support the channel, but you haven't taken the dive yet, this would be a good time to do so. The link to the Patreon account is in the description below. But that's it. Let's get right into today's video. Also, I think I have my lights too bright. I feel like I'm squinting and my eyes are watering. So like I said, lots to dial in on. But today is a Tuesday Takedown, never of people, just of bad ideas, bad apologetics, and bad arguments. And today we have a YouTuber who is a Christian that put up a clip from Theo Von trying to make a case based off Theo's reaction here. Theo Von is a comedian, a podcaster, etc. And there's a lot that I think we can talk about from this clip, and it's something that's a little bit different for us. So let's go ahead and watch this clip.
Hold up, Theo Von putting away the jokes for a moment and talking about God. Watch this.
I can't, and look, I know some people out there are atheists and stuff, and they don't want to believe in anything, and that's, you know, and I can't understand it. But I also come from a place where I think I felt alone a lot. And so if you're telling me that there is a free being, a free body, a free parent, a free love, a free heart out there in the universe that will help me not feel alone, man, come on. That's a lottery ticket that I don't have to scratch, man. I'll take that all day. I'll take that all day because I want to be a part of something bigger. I don't want to be a part of just myself.
Come on, to hear more about what God is doing, follow and subscribe for more.
So, I mean, it's kind of lovely, and Theo Von is a super real dude. He's very down to earth, and he has quite the background growing up in some pretty extreme poverty, and so I think that we can talk about quite a bit here. First of all, notice that he's just talking about a God in general, but of course, this YouTuber, the hashtags are hashtag gospel, Jesus, Christianity, Christian faith, Bible, and God, just attributing 6 out of the 7 hashtags to a very specific form of religion and a very particular God. We're going to skip over that for the most part. I understand that most people are going to take a clip like this and they're going to internalize it into the religion they believe in or the popular religion of the country, etc. That's fine. And as you guys know, one caveat, because I see you guys argue about it in the comments sometimes, I am what I consider to be an agnostic atheist. When it comes to the particular God claims like Allah or Yahweh, etc., I am a straight up atheist. I think those claims are falsifiable and I do not believe in them. When it comes to deism in general, is there a God? I'm extremely agnostic. I have no idea. I don't think we have any good reason to believe that, but there's of course no way to falsify that, and I wouldn't dare step out on that big of a ledge. So for today's purposes in this video, I'm going to be talking about how this kind of feeling from Theo and with his upbringing and where he was born and raised and things of this nature, I'm sure when he thinks of God, he thinks of the Christian God. So we're going to attack it from that angle, and we're just going to break this down part by part by part.
And look, I know some people out there are atheists and stuff, and they don't want to believe in anything, and that's, you know, and I can't understand it. But I also come from a place where I think I felt alone a lot.
So that's where I want to stop the first clip, because so often on this channel and many channels like this, we are talking about what the last theologian said, what the last pastor or apologist said, etc., and not the common man. And again, I think that Theo Von really represents the common man here. And so when he thinks of an atheist, he's thinking about someone that he thinks doesn't want to believe in anything. That's what he said. And I think it's going to be really cool to view this from this more commonality, people that aren't just engrossed in this space all of the time, someone that just grows up with this feeling that there's more out there, and he can't understand the atheist who doesn't want to believe in anything. I believe in many things that are higher than myself, like family and friendship and community and love. I just don't have to map that onto a particular God claim to enjoy it. But my life is, I think, I have what he's looking for, and it doesn't require a God. And that is one of the things that I want this channel to get across the most. It's an old cliche, but so many people say, we're all born with this hole, this God-sized hole that only he can fill. And so if you don't believe in God, you're going to be empty, you're going to be meaningless. Meanwhile, there's people like Theo that clearly do believe in a higher power and still have some sense of longing. And I don't want to speak for him too much because we're basing this off a 60-second clip, but obviously there are many, many, many people that would say, there's a God out there, and yet they still have this emptiness. And of course, there are atheists that still have this emptiness as well. I don't want to get too far down the wrong rabbit trail here. We are meant, and this is something that most religions have gotten correct, for community. And when I say meant, I don't mean predestined by some higher power or fate or providence. I mean, from an evolutionary perspective, we survived because we were a species that was able to group together, to communicate, to share, to empathize, to trade. And there's just no sense in denying. I think with this mic, I need to be a little bit closer. These are the things I've got to dial in. I apologize. But again, my point here is I acknowledge and recognize and even scientifically understand that we need community. And so a lot of people who are isolated, who are lonely, who are dealing with depression or anxiety, they might feel like they're missing something. And indeed, they very well might be. But this idea that the only thing that can fill it and that everyone has this need and it can only be accomplished via God, and specifically the particular God claim of Jesus Christ and Yahweh, no, I reject that. I reject it fully. And it's kind of a futile attempt to convince a Christian that as an atheist, I can have meaning. Nothing changed. I'm still Brandon. I'm still a good dad. I'm still a good friend. I still endeavor to do good for my community and for everyone. If anything, I would say that these kinds of morals have increased since I have recognized that there is no God coming to save the day, that the prayers don't do anything, that the money I put in the offering plate isn't going to solve the world's problems. It's a very unfortunate idea that is ingrained into believers' heads from a very early position that God is the only answer. But I've beat a dead horse here. Let's move on to the next thing that he says.
You're telling me that there is a free there's a free being, a free body, a free parent, a free love, a free heart out there in the universe that will help me not feel alone. That's a lottery ticket that I don't have to scratch, man. I'll take that all day.
So again, coming from his background of this loneliness, hearing that there is this offer, and I want to go through these and compare them, of course, with the biblical God here, a free being, he says body as well, but being, a free parent, a free love, and a free heart. So still mainly these three things. Come to God, and you now have someone, a being who cares for you, a heavenly father, someone who is going to look out for you, that wants your best interest, a free love, just truly being loved without having to do anything, actual unconditional love. I agree. That sounds beautiful. I can't even imagine. I know that many believers have essentially, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, tricked themselves into believing this. And that is why religion is so beneficial for some people. They have essentially, and I hate this terminology because I think that it's used in rhetoric from atheists when they're trying to attack, but I really do believe they have essentially made up an imaginary friend that fits into their life and gives them everything they were missing and fills all of those holes. And that can look like many different things to many different people, because again, this Bible is a choose your own adventure book, and this God concept is a build your own best friend concept, but it's hollow. And I believe you can only trick yourself so long, or to a certain degree, before those prayers that go unanswered, they're just too many of them now. Those atrocities that you've witnessed, the suffering that you've seen, it just doesn't add up anymore with what you've idealized this God character to be. I think this is kind of a really weird bell curve, or lack thereof. There seems to be two ends of the spectrum. People that are so desperate, that are so bad off, that have so much harm and misfortune in their life that they simply need, almost to the highest degree, this God to be real. They need there to be a payoff. They need there to be a next life where things are better. They need for the potential of something more. And then you have the really privileged believer. Like, they've never really experienced loss. They've grown up in a great community, in a church where they felt safe. Nothing bad ever happened to them. They never read too much into all of the claims. Jesus was always there when they needed him. He was just a best friend, and they haven't had a reason to gut check themselves yet. And unfortunately, this person can change in a heartbeat. One real loss, one real disappointment, one time where they actually open themselves up enough to hear the counter argument, and it can implode. But for many people, they are so privileged, and no knock on them, but they are indeed in such a good position in life that God is just the cherry on top. And then I think there's kind of this middle ground. And again, I'm generalizing here, so don't hold me to all of this, but I do think there's this middle ground of the people that have a bad enough life and they're like, God's nowhere to be found here. Or the people that have a good enough life, but they have enough perspective of what's gone on in history or the rest of the world or comparative religion to be like, this concept, this claim is asinine. And so this is kind of the spectrum that I see. And I see Theo down here like, man, I just want there to be more. I need there to be more. And then I see so many Christians, especially in this online apologetic space, that just honestly seem a bit ignorant, again, of history and other religions and personal experiences and how our bodies work and our minds work, etc. And so it allows them to naively continue to hang on to the particular God claim that they believe in. And over here, it can look like the needs are being met. There's that free being, that free parent, that free love. And over here, we're so desperate for it that I'm just going to have to believe those three things can be met. But again, if we look at what the Bible tells us about this God and we compare it up against reality, tell me where we get this free, perfect being. Tell me in what world one who has read the entire Bible can walk away and say, yep, good Father. It's one of the things I hammer home the most in all of the 0.7s I do in my secular Bible study series. It's towards the end of each video, and I cover contradictions and problematic passages. And especially with those problematic passages, I often point out, this is not a good father. This is not someone you would want to base your parenting style off of. In fact, I have a future video that I really want to put together on comparing God as a good father and doing so extensively. But no, he doesn't meet that. And of course, we know he does not match up to this concept of love. I've done 2 recent videos on that. You can check them out. But this God does not give us unconditional love. It is highly conditional. And even then, I don't know if it's something we should call love. And then I think we have just one last part of the video here. Let's check it out.
Because I want to be a part of something bigger. I don't want to be a part of just myself.
How insightful, how introspective. I really do admire Theo's take here, even if I disagree in the end result or how it gets fixed. But he wants to be a part of something bigger. He doesn't just want it to be about himself anymore. I think this is almost as close as you can get to a universal truth. And I mentioned some of the evolutionary pressures that led to it, but we know people feel better when they're helping, when they're contributing, when they're active, when they're a member of something, when they belong. But the problem is twofold here. If we are just attributing this to straight deism, what does that mean exactly? Is this when we get into all the vague new age spirituality? And I think there can be just as much loss and loneliness and confusion in those concepts. And that's something I'd actually like to start covering more on the channel. But again, if we're bringing it down to that very specific God claim, and most likely in this particular case, it being Christianity here in the US where Theo Von is from, then sure, you can get community at church. You can get plugged in and be a part of something bigger. You can meet up with these groups of people 2, 3, 4 times a week. You can give your money and feel like it's going and doing something better than if you just went to the bar by yourself or whatever the example is. But it's not the only way to achieve this. And this is the great lie that has been told to the common person. First of all, without getting too heavy into philosophy or therapy or anything like this, you've got to be okay with yourself. And so many people who haven't done the work to actualize, to become whole, to heal their trauma, etc., they're going to get plugged in, and maybe it'll be a high or a fix for a little while, but you're going to keep coming up empty. And it's not a selfish thing, but the church, the Christian community will so often demonize that idea. No, you and your focus on yourself, that's the problem. Give, 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 give. You can only do that so long before it completely breaks you. You need to be whole, and out of the overabundance abundance of yourself, be able to give and connect and get plugged in. And again, I know I'm just armchair philosophizing and giving unlicensed therapy, but I do believe this and I do see it to be true. I think this particular religion wants to milk you for all you've got, all your offering, all your tithe, all your volunteer hours, all for one goal: God's kingdom. And biblically speaking, that is and should be correct. But if that kingdom doesn't exist, if that God isn't there, if the rewards that are supposed to come with that never come, and the people in leadership don't care, and they will keep taking from you as long as you are willing to give it, because it is now also their livelihood, it again might work for a while, but it's not the final answer. One of the big reasons that I'm talking about this today, and one of the big reasons for my channel, is to help those that are in the process of doubting, deconverting, or deconstructing, those that are in religion and feel lost or feel like they've been lied to or duped, or it's not what it was, or this God isn't real, and now they're facing a new challenge. They're afraid of what they might lose, even though it hasn't been enough. And by the way, atheism does not guarantee you a better result. There are people that will leave the church because they find out it's false, the religious claim that is, and they will become more lonely. They will become more sad. They will be hurt by the relationships that are lost, and in the end, it is a net loss. That is unfortunately a fact. I think that there is an element of just being in the truth that can compensate for a lot of that, but that is not true for everyone, even if it's true for my particular personality. And I've worked really hard to maintain a lot of those relationships to not end up in that boat. So I want to give some advice, again, anecdotally from my own personal experience here, that there is nothing that is going to make everything perfect. And you might be lonely. You might have an unfair disadvantage in life. And no one, whether they're selling religion or secularism or humanism, etc., can guarantee you anything. And I've seen some atheist channels try to do this. Oh, leave religion and everything will be better. For many people, that's true, because there's so much harm in so much religion that finally lifting the veil, seeing the world as it really is, getting educated, understanding things, being okay with who you are, not living under shame and guilt and fear. Like, if we have to choose one on average that I think has the best potential to lead to the least amount of harm, I think it's reality, which in the case of these particular God claims happens to be a state of atheism. But it doesn't answer everything for everyone. Of course not. And I want people to come in with proper expectations. And the expectations, if you're lonely or if you're confused or if you're doubting or if you're fearful or any of these things, is that the world is still the world. And there are a ton of other false concepts and ideologies that you can become committed to, and wrongly so. But one thing that leaving a religion does give you the potential is to not be duped again, is to get perspective, is to be aware, is the permission and the allowance to work on yourself more. And I know some Christians would claim, nope, we believe in, good counseling and therapy. We believe in healing trauma, etc. That's fine. They're more progressive and that's wonderful. But there's still so much baggage with the rest of their claims that I think it's actually pretty counterproductive, if not just straight up hypocritical. From the very first video, I have said the goal is to follow truth wherever it leads, despite the consequences. Not everyone is going to be aligned with that. I understand that. If the reason you believe in God, or the reason you believe in this particular God claim, is because you're someone like Theo Von, who has a need and is expecting or hoping or already believing that it's getting managed through this invisible, mythical, non-communicating, non-existing entity, that's for sure at some point, for most people, going to blow up in your face, or at least leave you exactly where you started. I think the best thing we can do is start from a position of truth. And even if that truth is, I don't know, you're off to the races. It's been about almost 4 years for me since I just dropped it and said, okay, I'm starting over. Here's all the things I don't know. Here's all the things I can't know. Here's all the things I can't prove. Here's the things I don't understand. Here's the questions I still have. Here's the reasons religion still looks attractive. Here's the reasons I'm still afraid to let go. And one by one by one by one, rebuilding my personal philosophy, rebuilding my life. What do I believe in? Why? What are my morals? What are my ethics? Why? And by the way, some of those things stayed very well aligned with where I came from. And some of them did a complete 180. And some just bent or gave a little bit. This is the point. You're not subscribing to anything but truth. And for so much of these impossible questions and all of these opinions and politics and issues and ethics, it's hard, it's complicated, it's nuanced, or it's even something we can't entirely know. And when religion claims you can know, it's not nuanced, it's straightforward, it's black and white, it's heaven and hell, it's natural sin that you need a savior from, you're gonna lose. And I know so many of you are in this weird middle period of you're watching this channel because you've started questioning, you've started leaving, you've got one foot out, but you're afraid, you don't know. That's okay. That's what I'm here to say. I'm here to tell you it's okay. And ideas like what Theo's got going on, I understand them completely, but they don't inherently lead to truth or benefit. Think critically. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you again to everyone who has helped me create this new space. I am so excited to start diving into some of the other endeavors that I want to do on this channel. And until then, keep thinking. I'd like to personally thank my top tiers of support, my Iconoclast and GVI, Jacob, Joe, Oliver, Perry, Rokkit, and Shawn, my Humanist heroes, Jarrod and Kristi, my Atheist advocates, Martin, Sparky, Stephanie, and Todd, as well as all of my Secular Scholar patrons. If you believe in the mission of this channel or you just enjoy its content, please consider joining these fine patrons. Thanks and have a great day.